Thank you, Liesl and Andrea. Now, with summer, summer is just around the corner. Temperatures are getting hotter, and it's time to spend more time in your garden. And you don't necessarily need to have green fingers to grow the most amazing veggies and herbs. You just need to know the basics, starting off with what type of soil is the correct soil for your plants. And here to help us out in that regard is Mr. Ben Guest from Urban Harvest, giving us some good tips on how to get your soil absolutely perfect. Ben, nice to have you, man. And can I just compliment you on our rooftop garden? You've been doing an amazing job. It's so lush. It's actually nice to stand out here.
Yeah, thank you. It's been growing beautifully. And the key to that, as you said, is healthy soil. What really makes, if we're doing things organically, what we have to have is living soil. We need living soil. So what I mean by that is we need living organisms in the soil. Things like earthworms, woodlice. You can see here we've got some earthworm castings. The way really to make your soil healthy is to add organic matter.
Organic matter, no matter what type of soil you have.
Yes, absolutely. If you've got, you see, this is hard clay, rocky. It's capped, so there's no space in here for oxygen. And if it gets wet, it holds on to water too much. You need soil that's going to have just the right amount of oxygen and allow for good drainage. In order to get that, as I've said, organic matter is absolutely key.
All right.
The second thing is mulch, which is basically a layer. It's also organic matter. It's a way of bringing organic matter into the garden, but having some layer covering the soil, something like, in this case, we've got milled bark, but something like straw, even leaves, something to keep the soil covered, and that helps to create a good environment for the microorganisms like the earthworms, and they then digest the organic matter into compost, which feeds the plants.
All right, so let's talk about those nutrients that your plants need to be and grow healthy as well. What do they need?
Okay, so there's a lot of nutrients. There's macronutrients and micronutrients, but the basic is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So nitrogen helps for healthy leaf and stem development.
All right.
And we can get nitrogen from compost, especially earthworm castings, for example. Then we've got phosphorus, which is good for root development. One of the best ways to get that in organically is bone meal. Another one is seaweed, which is actually readily available.
Seaweed, that's interesting.
On another show, we'll talk about how to make liquid fertilizer using seaweed, so you can introduce those nutrients liquidly to the plants.
So let's talk about actually just getting those nutrients into the different, because you've got different types of soil here. Now, you can work with your soil, you just need to get those nutrients in there.
Absolutely.
So how would you get that in there organically?
Good question. And I mean, specifically preparing the boxes in the beginning, that's the most important. If you're planting in containers especially, but also in the soil, you want to add compost is key. Normally sort of 30 to 50 dm, in other words, like a bag of compost per square meter. You want to add bone meal. You want to add, this is gardener's gold dust, which is essentially gypsum and seaweed. So again, you're getting that phosphorus and some, you're also getting potassium. A lot of that comes through earthworm castings is the best quality compost. And this has been made from kitchen scraps and newspaper, so bringing this into the soil, ideal. And then, as I said, a mulch layer on the top. So you really need to mix it all together, but your main substance is a good potting soil, which is somewhere between dry sandy soil and very heavy clay soil. We need a mix,
which you can get at your nurseries that's already available.
Very much so, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about, we've got our herb garden right here now. All herbs and veggies, do they need the same type of soil to grow effectively?
Most herbs and veggies will like a rich, organically rich soil, which I keep coming back to. Put in organic matter. In fact, 90%. There's a couple, a lot of people make a mistake with carrots. They think the carrots also need the compost, and what happens is, because compost is rich in nitrogen, carrots will get lots of beautiful leaf growth, and everyone will go, wow, look at my amazing carrots, and then they pull them out, there's hardly anything there, because carrots, they need the phosphorus for the root development, but as little nitrogen as possible, because you want the energy to go into the roots, not into the leaves.
Exactly.
But generally, as a rule of thumb, be generous and abundant with your garden. There's lots of soil conditioners. These are just a few. Put in the soil conditioners, make sure that your garden's always composted, and equally important is to have that mulch layer at all times.
So you mentioned that a couple of times. It means it's very, very important. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. You've been doing wonders with our garden right here, and it's in dire need of a harvest. I know you're going to be doing that soon. But of course, if you want any more tips on how to get your soil perfect from Mr. Ben Getz, you can just log on to expressoshow.com. We'll put all the info for you right there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.